Hello, and welcome to another episode of Keep It Moving Podcast. I am your host, Novelty, and joining me, as always, is Mike B.
What it do?
How's it going?
It's going.
How's your life going?
Life is going.
Is it going good? Is it going bad?
It's
going.
going. It's going.
Well, I hope it's going. You're sitting right across from me. If you
never know. I got some tricks.
I've
I've been working on some hoodoo magic.
So you trying to be the zombie now? I got to chop your head off.
Well, you know, Walking Dead is one of my favorite shows.
Okay, I just know I'm gonna chop your head off.
I don't think you can do it. I think you'd cry if I was a zombie right here and like tried to eat your arm. I think you'd cry and let me eat your arm.
Do you realize I carry a gun?
I'm saying
right
it's not
in
here.
Your head.
It's not here at the table, and I wouldn't let you get to it.
Zombies are not fast.
They're not fast, but I already got your arm. You right here.
Zombies are not strong either.
You better ask somebody. You messing with the wrong zombies.
You pull on a zombie too hard, their arms fall off.
Don't pull on me then. Just let me eat.
What kind of stuff is that? Sure, make me cuss. Anyway, did you do anything fun over the last couple of weeks?
Nope. I don't.
Suck.
Yeah, I've just been working because I think I told you. Did we talk about this? My boss was off for these 2 weeks, so I was in charge, and so hectic, stress, all that good stuff. So no.
Does he come back Monday?
He better, because I won't be there. So
you taking vacation next week?
Oh, well, it's Monday. So I don't care. Like, he can be there or he can't be there. I won't be there. I've already set my out of office. The other employees don't even know I won't be there. But they do know that they worked my nerves these past 2 weeks. So it won't be a surprise. They'd realize that, he probably needed a break. Yes, okay, I did.
Okay. Well, I had an eventful day. I had a lot going on today. Well, eventful 2 days. You know, Fridays and Saturdays, Friday mornings, and then Saturdays I do my ripping and running.
And you don't work on Friday?
Yes, I do. But early Friday morning, I try to get my ripping and running done before I start working.
Okay. Before 8 o'clock?
On Fridays, I might not start working until noon.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had that privilege.
Oh, I got a lot of privileges.
Right on.
But, I mean, I work until 8:30, 9 o'clock, too.
Okay.
So it's just,
you make up your time, but you just start late. Okay.
Yeah. But, yesterday morning, I went on and did a lot of my ripping and running because I knew this morning I had a lot to do. So I had to, I go to Aldi's for my produce. And actually, the only thing I had in there this week is produce. They didn't have nothing else. Believe me, I looked.
They didn't have no beach chairs. They didn't have
they had some, but not any that I would want.
Right on.
But I did look. And then, of course, I go over to Hy-Vee to get things that I can't get from Walmart. And then everything else I do online at Walmart and just go pick up. So I did my ripping and running Friday, and I went out to Lowe's because I have decided to make a decoration for the front of my house.
Like what?
Big, oversized firecrackers. So I spent yesterday morning out.
Wait a minute. So you've already made some dishes for decorations for the fort.
For the inside, yeah.
And
I was looking at my house and I'm like,
your house is not that big. And you got so much stuff stuffed inside this house. Did we talk about hoarding?
It's not going to be for the inside of the house.
It's not for the, but you're going to have to store it somewhere once.
It'll go in the garage.
Exactly, with all the rest of the bins of the decorations
you have.
It's not okay. You got a problem. We need to have a conversation about this.
Anyway, so I did a little bit of ripping and running to get the stuff together for it. So I had to go get PVC pipe and try to figure out how to cap off the PVC pipe and drill the hole for the wick. And so it was a very interesting morning, but the Lord decided to bless me with
some rain. What he was trying to say, you caused this rain. He's like, you decorating with some more crap? Not today, sister. Not today. He was on my side.
Anywho, so as I'm ripping and running, I'm in and out and I'm drenched. I'm soaking wet. Because
it was raining hard yesterday, too.
I mean, it didn't start until, it didn't really come down until I came out of Lowe's. As I was walking out the door, it was like God said, hello. Poof. And I was wet. So I was like, okay, I'll just spend the rest of the day like this. So I finished my ripping and running, and then this morning is when I would normally go get my stuff from Walmart.
Groceries, okay.
So I had to go out there, and I had to go back to Lowe's to take pieces back and get other pieces to switch.
Where'd you get this like decoration idea from? Like
online
what's that,
somewhere, probably
like Etsy or something like that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no, I got it online somewhere. I don't know if it was an Etsy thing I saw, but it's online somewhere.
Okay, and they had designs of what to do.
No.
Okay.
It's just
you
a
just
big
saw
old
it and you
firecracker
said,
sitting on a porch, and I
feel like
sat
I
there
can
and
do
was like,
it.
how could I make this happen? And at first I was like, the only thing I could think of that was round and tubular like that was a glass vase. And I was like, I can't make this with glass and stick it outside. It'll break. And it was doing all that rain. And I'm like, hell will come down and it'll break like in 20 million pieces. No, I can't do that. And then something said PVC pipe. And I was like, oh yes. So I went and got a big old long thing of PVC. I got me some big thick rope.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I've been sitting with paint and PVC pipe and rope and drills, and I'll show you when I get done.
This, you gonna post a picture on the Facebook?
Yes.
For everybody.
I'll post it.
Okay.
I should be done hopefully tomorrow. The only thing I don't know about is the stars, because I couldn't find a template for the stars or stencil for the stars.
What does that mean, the stars?
My firecrackers are going to have the American flag on it. So it'll be like the stripes. The base of it will have stripes, the red and white stripes. And then around the top of it will be the stars, the blue and white stars.
Okay.
But I couldn't find a template for a stencil for the stars. I found a stencil for stars, but they're very small. So I don't know how it's going to come out with the stars, but we're going to see.
You seem like you got a lot of time, a lot of free time.
No, I just have a lot of ideas. And once an idea pops in my head, I got to get it out somehow.
See, I don't even have time for your idea.
Well, that's your life.
I'm tired just thinking about you doing this, and I ain't even doing it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I sat there this afternoon and started it. So I got the stripes done. I've got the PVC done. I've drilled all the holes. I cut the wick.
And it's coming together.
It's coming together. It's set up to where I'll be able to fill it up with sand. That way the wind won't blow it away. I'm like, hey, this is going to work. So
okay,
I might be done tomorrow. We'll see.
I guess.
So I did that. I had to run out and do that. And, of course, as soon as I leave my house, it starts raining. Mm-hmm. So I'm 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm up. I'm at Lowe's. I'm at Walmart. Soon as I get home, it really starts to pour. Mm-hmm. I had to buy a trash can, so I bought a trash can. I'm filling the trash can up with all my food and pulling it in the house because it's coming down.
You bought another trash can?
Yes.
Okay. This is different from the one that you bought from Lowe's. I'm sorry, for Aldi.
That was a small decorative trash can. This is a big heavy duty one to put the real trash in.
Okay, to go outside on the curb. Okay, yeah. Right on.
So I got that out and all the stuff, and no sooner than I hit my garage, it just started pouring. And I was like, "Oh, God must love me right now." So of course I got inside, got everything unloaded, and today was the dedication for my great aunt's park to be renamed after her. So I had to go do that, had to get dressed and go to the park in heels and a dress, and it rained outside like crazy. As soon as I left to go to my aunt's, the rain stopped.
Where is this park?
It's in Leeds, Missouri. It's between Kansas City and Raytown.
Okay.
It's a little area called Leeds, and it's an area where black people migrated to.
Okay.
So
I've never heard of it. Okay.
It's an old place. It's not too many people down there. It's not that big of a neighborhood anymore, but
right on. So
we had that this morning, and I got to meet my new mayor. He was there.
Really?
Yes.
Who is the new mayor?
Quentin Lucas. And I let him know I voted for him. Mm-hmm. But I'm watching him. Like, I voted for you. Now let's see what you do. Because I don't have to vote for you again.
But I'm watching you. Right on.
So I got to meet the new mayor, and then finally left and had to finish my running and went home and laid across my couch for like 5-10 minutes before I had to get up and leave again. So tonight, I'm going to get some good sleep. I've had 12 showers in the last 2 days.
I think it was, today I ordered some Papa John's. And I haven't really been ordering that often because I don't know why. I just been doing other things, especially eating my crab legs. So I don't need no Papa John's when I got my crab legs.
Still ain't invited me over for.
That's not what we're talking about right now.
Whatever.
But I ordered some, and the delivery driver I used to see all the time because I used to order like every other day. And I saw him. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. He said, well, that's probably because, you ain't been ordering or, I just haven't been, picking this route or something like that. I said, well, I haven't really been ordering that often. He said, and you picked today of all days to order because it's hot as shit out here.
And it got hot. I mean,
I didn't even, but I've been inside, so it was cool in here. I'm in the air, but when I stepped out there, it was muggy, hot.
It came down this morning like crazy, and then it stopped, and within, I'd say, 20 minutes, that temperature just, swoom, it went up so fast. Really? I'm in the park, and I had a spaghetti strap dress on with, what spaghetti straps are, okay. And with a little half crop top sweater vest thing. Okay, it stops right below the boobs.
Okay.
It's there, yeah. And it had holes all in it, and I was still burning up. I was burning up. Now, I mean, granted, my dress came down to the ground and I had on heels, but I'm out there going, okay, y'all gonna have to do something because we're.
Well, how old was your aunt?
My aunt is 90.
90. So how was she doing out here in all this heat?
Oh, they had her up and underneath in the shady spot,
okay.
And wind on her.
I'm surprised somebody
wasn't
up there fanning her.
Oh, they were.
Oh, right on.
She's being.
You take care of you. Yeah, take care of your elders.
But the rest of us was dying. I mean, one cousin was like, "Okay, chop chop, it's hot out here. Let's get this started. We gonna start on time." We was hot.
Understandable.
And as soon as they was done dedicating,
you was out there.
We was out.
Ain't no lingering. Ain't no having no conversations.
And I was like, when I got up, I was like, okay, I'll just get dressed and this is what I'll wear all day long. It won't bother me. I'll just head to Mike's in this, and I got home. I was like, oh hell no, nope. I'm not heading in nothing. I stuck on my little, my little yoke pants
yeah.
and my little t-shirt with no sleeves. Like, I'm out.
You look very comfortable.
Yes, because I was not this morning. And I would have been fine had it not been so humid.
Mm-hmm. It was very stuffy.
And the girls needed to fly free. I was like, this is not the way to do this.
What does that mean?
I had to take off my bra.
Okay.
That's what
the girls.
They had to fly free. I was like, what is going on? And I'm sitting out there and sticky and sweaty, and I get bit easily. Mosquitoes like me. So I drown myself in off. And then still had on one of those little bands you put on your arm. I had one on my arm, one on my ankle. My auntie's like, what perfume do you have on?
I haven't used off in so long. Remember, Avon had their own version of off called something else. But I remember a lot of people used to use that a lot.
I used the off.
I guess I'm not outside that often, so I don't have a reason.
Like, what's that scent you wearing?
She thought it was some perfume.
Old day bug spray.
Old day bug spray.
Sure, it was hot. But I mean, the dedication went well. It went really good. And I'm gonna sleep tonight. That's all I can say is all that water, all that ick. I'm going home, climbing in my bed, and it's going to be a nice night. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm sleeping.
Right on.
So anyway, you got a bae for me?
Actually, I do have a bae for you. This week for Black Achievements and Excellence, we are honoring, and I think we've honored this young man once before, 21 Savage. And I don't know, but for some reason regarding 21 Savage, I always felt some type of way about him. I judged this young man, didn't know anything about him, but I felt some type of way like, oh, he ain't shit. Kind of like how a lot of white people do to black people based on your name, based on your look. I was doing the same thing. And I actually, when I was reading this article, I actually realized that today that like, you didn't used to like this young man, and like, why? You didn't know him, and him being associated even with Amber Rose, I'm like, oh, they on that bull crap. I didn't know anything about him. But here lately, we've been hearing his name, and it's been for all positive things. You know, him starting the like financial literacy for the young people, letting them know the importance of stuff like that. More recently, he donated $25,000 to the Southern Poverty Law Center, and it's to help immigrants have a legal defense or have access to legal defense. And even though, you know, for the past couple of years, that's been a hot button issue, especially with Republicans, immigration, and you can't turn on the TV a day without hearing about it. And I have a story about that I'm going to talk about right after this. But he just went through something similar. Remember, we found out that he ain't from Atlanta. He was born and raised in the UK. That was shocking. Right. But that whole ordeal and how he was treated by ICE and how he felt like he was targeted, and had he not had access to, the funds to be able to, get himself out of that situation, because it's nothing for him to clear up his immigration status. But if he didn't have the money to, do that, then he'd get caught up in the system. It reminds me of the whole Khalif Browder situation, who the young man was taken to Rikers and, not charged with anything for 3 years. I don't know if the parents couldn't afford I believe that's what it was. The parents couldn't afford the bail. So he's in Rikers being tortured and treated like shit. And eventually, once he was freed, he ended up, killing himself, because that's traumatic. And so we see the pictures, and we hear the stories of what's going on in the immigration centers, how they're overcrowded, and all of this stuff is going on. And I guarantee you, there's not a lot of lawyers down there helping them out. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them probably can't even speak English to ask for a lawyer. And at one point last year, we were seeing they had little toddlers in court, by themselves with no real representation, talking to a judge. Well, a judge talking to them. Like, just
technically, that's illegal.
It didn't even make any sense that this was happening, and you ask yourself, how did we get here? So shout out to this young man. I almost feel like I need to apologize for judging him without even knowing him, without giving him an opportunity, without asking a question about his story. Because once I started to hear about him, only thing I've, like I said, been hearing is positive things. Not to say that he don't get into like little crap or whatever, but for the most part, I hear positivity coming from him, and it seems to be genuine, not just something to do for show. And I appreciate that.
Cool. Woohoo! All right. Now,
but no, not to take away from the whole 21 Savage situation, but within the past couple of days, have you been seeing the video going around with a member of the Trump administration or from the Justice Department trying to argue that, I guess, soap and toothbrush and toothpaste, stuff like that, is not really necessary for the immigrants? You haven't been seeing that going around?
So people can't be clean? Well, because they immigrants?
The young lady was trying to argue that these really aren't like necessities, and the judges were looking at her like, do you hear what you're saying? Like, you can't say that the camps are like safe and secure and all of this stuff if the people can't even, it's overcrowded. You don't want to provide them with soap. He said, I can understand, you're not giving them like Egyptian cotton, but you got these people like in overcrowded camps, and they're sleeping under aluminum foil blankets on concrete. And he said, I said soap. It's not like it has to be perfumed soap. It doesn't have to be fancy soap. You don't think they deserve access to soap? And just to see her try to squirm, and I was actually proud of the judges, because it was like, I don't know what circuit court it was, but you saw it was like 3 or 4 judges just looking at her trying to explain this away, and they were like dumbfounded. They're like, I know you're not trying to argue that like people having access to toothbrush, toothpaste, soap that doesn't make sense to you. Like, come on. And it was embarrassing to watch, but it wasn't shocking, because what we continue to get from this administration is I feel like the worst of the worst.
Right. That's it. You continue to see the worst parts of humanity, the worst parts of Americans.
Yes.
That's it, though. This is the worst part of us. And, somebody was saying that they didn't believe that this was all Republicans. They don't believe this is all Americans. They believe that most Americans, most Republicans are embarrassed by this. And I can believe that.
They probably are, but they aren't vocal about it. And the ones that are in power.
The ones that are in power are the worst of the worst. And you all put them there. And until you take them out of there, we can't do nothing but try to vote a Democrat in. Mm-hmm. So this is up to Republicans and those independents. Republicans and independents are the ones that got to do their job, because I guarantee you it ain't a Democrat on the face of this earth that's going to vote for these fools again. Not a Democrat. Not a Democrat.
I would think
not a Democrat.
But I'm surprised.
Not daily. A Democrat.
I hear what you're saying, but I can't say that.
I can, because the people that voted him in, I don't think were Democrats. I think they were independents.
But CNN did a little town hall thing with Democrats who voted for Donald Trump. And I'm saying, see, you think people are logical, you think people are sensible,
well, no,
but
I know.
some way,
if you're voting back in, I don't care who you are. If you vote him back in, you got to be insane. If you don't get up and vote, you have to be insane. You
have to ask, aren't you tired of this? I'm drained with everything that's going on right now. And then I should have looked up this story, but hearing about it's some city council or whatever, they're trying to vote on some type of climate change bill, and then the Republicans, I don't think they're the majority, but the Republicans hid so they wouldn't have to participate in the vote. And then
y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all should just be ashamed of yourself.
And how did we get here?
And then that dang on gobble wobble Mitch McConnell. They asked the man how he felt about reparations. And he says, he gives that same standard thing of, how do we know who to pay? And it's not our fault. None of us were alive. And when slavery was happening and da-da-da-da-da-da. And we've tried to fix this. He says, we tried to fix this. We fought a civil war for this. No, you didn't. You did not fight a civil war to free black people, because you thought black people needed to be freed. You fought a civil war to free black people because it was a monetary decision. It had nothing to do with, we really see these people as people. Okay. Then he says, and we even gave you a black president. What you mean you gave me a black president? If it was up to you, that black president would have never been there.
Right.
You did everything in your power to stop that president from being able to do anything. You gave me a black president. You can kiss my entire black ass. Okay.
Tell them how you really feel, Novelty.
This is freaking insane. It's like you really missed the whole point. And they tripping and trying to stop this. And the only bill that's on the table right now is a bill to just do the research and look at how it can be done and if it can be done. And stop telling me, none of us were alive when slavery was alive. But you know what? You might not have been alive for slavery, but your ass was sure alive for Jim Crow.
And you're still feeling the effects of it.
Right.
Whether you want to admit it or not, and you feel like you got the living your best life and you don't have to worry about it. If you black, you still have to worry about it. You're still feeling the effects of it.
No, and your gobble wobble butt was definitely a participant. I'm sure you was a participant out there in the Jim Crow era. I'm sure you was hollering about all the niggas need to go away and all kind of stuff, because you act like you were. You and Roy Moore in the same dang on boat, you ask me. And that
you said he's running for office
again. And they said he might win. If I sure hope them black women get up out their seats and go vote again. I sure hope they continue to do it and keep that man out, because that man is a fool. Oh my goodness. Dear Lord Jesus.
They're
just
emboldened.
Pray over me. Keep my mouth shut.
Why?
Because I got some other words to say and they ain't kind.
All right.
I was being nice.
Right on.
So, but anywho. So I wasn't trying to step over you.
No, you didn't. I mean, it went along with what I was saying, because it's still this administration. Whether Mitch McConnell want to admit it or not, he's definitely working for 45. So you might as well be on the payroll.
So, have you heard about the new thing that's happening to young kids? Well, I don't want to say young kids. It's not millennials. I would think teenagers and things like that. They are finding this new bone that is growing out of the back of their necks, the back of their skulls, put it that way. And they're calling it text neck. And it's because they keep their heads down so long. I thought this was a joke when I first heard about it.
It still sounds like a joke.
I thought, no, they actually have x-rays. I have looked at several different news stations to make sure that, because I didn't believe it. I was like, this is some bull. But they are actually saying the human skeleton is changing because kids have their necks down. They're calling it a bone spur.
Text neck.
Text neck.
That's probably the dumbest thing I ever heard.
But
it's sad.
It's a bone spur. It's a bone, like a horn that's kind of growing from the back of the skull.
So we're reverting back from upright creatures to we're gonna be crawling again.
Yep. I was like, what?
That's sad.
I didn't think it was real.
As long as they can see their phones, they'll probably be all right.
I didn't think it was real. I was just like, okay, this is true. I mean, you should have saw me say, no, y'all lying. And then I went and...
Yeah, where'd you get this from?
Washington Post, USA Today, ABC, several places. That's why I had to go check.
Booble.com or something.
When I first heard it, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Because I first heard it on Good Morning America, and I was like, this ain't real.
They usually don't cover a story that's kind of crazy, right?
They don't cover those kind of stupid stories. And I'm like, okay, maybe, they're making a joke. And so they start to tell this story, and I'm like, I still didn't believe it. And then I went Washington Post, USA Today, and everybody was talking about it. And then Dr. Jen, she's the doctor on Good Morning America. She comes on and she's talking about it, and they start showing x-rays, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah,
so
that's ridiculous.
It's a bone that's growing out of the back of the skull. So yeah, we could slump over in the neck again because our heads are down so much texting.
Stuff like that usually doesn't happen until you reach a certain age, and like when you get older, your bones start to like shrink, and you kind of.
But I mean, even with that, if you look at it from an anthropological way, that takes
years,
right. Centuries to happen. And this is, I mean, texting ain't been around that long, but it's happening. So yeah, they're saying it's just a bone spur right now, but hey, we got
it's
new
something
bones
we need
growing.
to be worried about.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to name that bone in a minute. So anyway, what else you got for me?
Well, along the same lines as I guess Good Morning America, it's been an issue the past couple of days. I don't even know when this story kind of came out, but regarding Bella Thorne, who is an actress. I don't even know really what she plays on. I probably could have Googled it, but I guess I didn't care enough. But she released some text messages, and that included, I guess, some of her nude photos because someone had hacked into her iCloud and was trying to extort money from her and threatening to release, these photos of her. And so I guess to take the power away from this person, she decided to release and explain kind of on her own. And okay, I think, we all understand that people, but then they talked about it or discussed it on The View, and Whoopi Goldberg wasn't as sympathetic. And I don't think she had anything negative to say towards Bella Thorne. I think it was more so an FYI to people in general. It's 2019. And if you still sending naked pictures to whoever, this could happen, especially if you have a phone that backs up to the cloud. Anybody can intercept a text message, a picture message, a video message, your correspondence, period. And we've seen people, this happened before. This is not the first celebrity that this has been done to. And I'm sure there have been some that we didn't hear about because maybe the authorities were involved and they were able to resolve the issue before it became public. But I mean, there used to be a time where you could send a nude photo. and then maybe the person that you sent it to got pissed off and shared it with other people. You know, it's the same stuff that's happening. Just now we got smarter people who are able to go behind the scenes and find your information. Moral of the story is, if you don't want it out there, it's probably best not to send or take those photos to begin with. I feel like that's a PSA.
Well, that was always, I mean, even back when I was in high school, you know, we didn't have sexting.
No, y'all had like
we had
stone
Polaroid
tablets.
Anyway, there was a such thing as a Polaroid camera.
I remember Polaroids.
You would take it with a Polaroid because you wouldn't want to take it with another camera, because you had to take that camera to a shop to get it developed. Yep. But a Polaroid was instantaneous and it would pop the picture out. So you'd take a Polaroid. I had friends that had boyfriends in jail, and so they would take sexy nude pictures and send it to. I'm like, you know, every person between you and the jail is getting that.
Yeah, because they have to open up all the letters.
They open up all their letters, and he's showing it to all his cellmates. Are you kidding me? But I mean, that's what they did. To me, it's always been, if you don't want nobody to know to see it, then don't take it. So anytime I've ever sent anything like that, I guarantee you my face is not in it.
Oh, and that's I guess that's smart too.
So you can sit up and say, well, it's her body only.
So you've never sent
a
questionable photo with your face in it?
Not with my face in it. Oh, heck no.
Well, you know, sometimes you want people to know.
Well, and my phone backs up to Dropbox.
Okay.
My pictures do. And I'm good for being like, okay, what's this on my butt? I can't see it. And then getting my camera down there and taking a picture of it, and so I can see what it is.
Uh-huh.
But the picture's so close, you can't even tell it's my butt. It's just like, it's skin. It's like, oh, okay, what is that? No, my face ain't in nothing.
Right.
I ain't crazy.
But your booty.
My booty, baby. But how you gonna know it's my butt unless you've seen my butt? I mean, now if you've seen me, you know, I know she got 5 moles, right? You know,
you can recognize the beauty marks.
Yes, but otherwise, you ain't gonna know it's me.
But evidently, Bella Thorne felt some type of way at the discussion that was. Well, did you see this episode?
Yeah, I don't think anybody said anything. They basically said just that. If you don't want it out there, don't take a picture of it.
Especially when it's happened so many times, not just the extortion. That's why they came out with the revenge porn laws in certain states, because of this particular issue and how your nudes are being used against you, or videos. But I think Bella ended up seeing the segment, felt some type of way, and so she put out a video where she was, kind of crying and, felt that, Whoopi was trying to shame her, and victim blame her.
You know what? I'm done with you people. I don't even want to call you millennials, because I'm done with you people. Okay, here's the thing. I'm female. I don't do too many things at night out by myself. When I get in my car and I leave, I make sure my doors are locked. When I walk in my house, because even Megan McCain on this specific issue, she felt some kind of way about that. She was like, this is just what we do, and we should have the right to do it. You do have the right to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, you have the right to do it. But there's one thing of knowing that you have the right to do something. There's a whole nother issue with being safe. It's like this generation has forgotten about safety. When I get in my car, my doors are locked, because I know it's been known for fools to come up to your car and open the door and stick a gun to your head. If you can't
just try to get in.
Well, that too, or yank you out, anything. Yeah. So if my doors are locked, you're going to have a harder time doing that. When I go home and I get in my house, I lock my doors. Before I go to bed, I make sure all the windows are locked, all the doors are locked, because people are stupid and people will come in to rob you. I'm not home right now. Guess what? My house is locked. My doors are locked. My alarm is on. My dog is there. I'm going to get a phone call if anything goes down. My neighbor's going to find out. The police going to find out. I'm not stupid. There's one thing to know, that I have a right. Yes, I have a right to go home and not lock my doors. I have a right to believe that my house is safe. I have a right to believe that when I get in my car and drive across the city, I should arrive safely and nobody should mess with me. I have every right to believe that. But the reality is, I live in America in 2019. I live on Earth earth in 2019. People are stupid.
And they don't have to care about your rights to do whatever.
Right. And they can do what they want to do. So I feel sorry for her that this happened to her. Mm-hmm. But if you feel in some kind of way because somebody told you to man up, grow up, and learn to be safe, then you got a problem. You was one of them kids who got a trophy.
Participation
just
trophy.
Just for participate, you got a trophy. You was one of those kids that was coddled to and never was taught that life don't always go your way.
It kind of reminded me of of the saying where they say, well, people say hit dog will holler. Mm-hmm. Where it felt like, she already felt some type of way at allowing this and probably being not as safe and allowing something like this to happen. Whether it doesn't seem like something she could have controlled besides not taking the photos. But then if she took it as judgment because deep down she was probably judging herself for doing it.
She may have been. Yeah, I agree with that.
And so that kind of gaslighted her a little bit or triggered her. And so now she has somebody to blame versus herself.
Well, no, baby girl, like you need to go on and bring that blame right on back home because... And it's not even blame. It's like everything else. I always say, what role did you play in whatever happened to you? No matter how bad it is, no, you were the wrong one wronged. You're not being judged for what you did, but you do have to take accountability for what your part in this situation.
And this could be a lesson for other people.
You've got to, and not only that, you got to learn the lesson yourself.
Yep.
This is a lesson for you. This is what happened. You took a picture, you were sexting with your man and and it got up on the cloud and somebody stole it. That should be lesson learned right there. I mean, honestly, I'm like proud of the girl because she stuck them out there before anybody else. She was like, you are not going to blackmail me. I'm going to put them out there first.
But when you do stuff like that, you also, I feel like, this is just me, I feel like you kind of give the person a pass. Because now the authorities aren't involved in order to catch this person and prevent them from being able to do it to somebody else.
Well, now if there was a way for them to catch that person, then definitely I probably would have allowed that to happen. Mm-hmm. But
especially if in the end you didn't care, and if they got leaked, considering you leaked them yourself.
Well, no, what I like is it wasn't that she leaked them; she reclaimed her narrative. She took it back. You're not going to tell my story. I am. No matter what that story is. Yeah, okay, I took some nudes. You're not going to tell my story. I'm going to tell my story.
Right on.
So that's what I like. I actually was like, cool. She actually did that because it ain't no way in hell I could have done it.
You don't think so?
Well,
even the fact that you don't even have your face.
I would have been trying to catch him.
Okay.
Well, now without my face in him, oh yeah, you can see him all day long. You can't prove it's me. You can see him all day long. You don't know it's me, but
and then with all the catfishing going on, you definitely don't know if it's that person.
Right.
You can do face swap. You can do how do you trust nudes anymore anyway?
I don't see what y'all get out of them. Quite frankly,
satisfaction.
No, I mean not that. I don't see what you get out of nudes from people that didn't want to put them out there. It's like 50 million women that take off their clothes and throw them.
There's websites dedicated to it.
Just to that, it's like why is this such a big deal?
Because of the celebrity status, and so that's the only reason. If she wasn't a celebrity, if she was just Gina. Nobody would care.
They got a kick out of Jennifer Lawrence's nudes.
Celebrity,
but she already took her clothes off in movies.
It's different. These are pictures you probably didn't want me to see. It has an element of sexiness.
Y'all got issues.
I'm just saying.
So anyway, y'all got issues.
Last thing I wanted to talk about was this whole auntie conversation. Ava DuVernay. Most people are learning about her from this When They See Us documentary on Netflix that we kind of touched on last episode. But she's also the creator and writer, I believe, of Queen Sugar. She's done a lot of stuff. What was the name? It wasn't Hidden Figures. It was the fantasy movie that came to theaters recently.
With Oprah in it?
Yes, with Oprah in it.
Oh, I forgot what the name of it is right now.
But that was actually very beautiful. It was a beautiful show, even though it was confusing, but it was beautiful. I have to give it that. It was very colorful.
Okay.
But anyway, she was on a podcast called the Red Pill Podcast with Van Lathan. And I don't even know how the conversation came up about auntie. but she ended up revealing that she don't really care too much for people calling or referring to her as Auntie Ava, unless like you're my niece or nephew and I am your auntie. Then she feels like you're saying that she's old. And now with her, first of all, I was like, who's calling you auntie?
Right. Because I haven't heard her being called auntie.
Like I don't
think she's of age yet.
And not just of age. You haven't done enough.
Right.
Because I feel like when people get the auntie moniker, it's because they've exuded, they put the work in and they've exuded some type of reverence
over time.
Yeah. And they've garnered our respect to where you're family now. But she was saying, this is how she feels. And because she's kind of young, she felt like it was people trying to call her old. So she wasn't taking it as a term of endearment. But then Oprah chimed in because it started the conversation. And Oprah was saying she doesn't really, like the whole Auntie Oprah conversation or when people call her that. And I'm looking at, like, after all this time, I feel like you would be the one to understand.
Well,
we've grown up with you, Oprah.
What bothered me about Oprah's is the fact that she said, unless it's from Africa.
Yeah.
And it's like, white people ain't calling you auntie. And if they are, they're still in they are appropriating another culture.
But that's what I feel like she meant, or she tried to pretty it up. She didn't want white people calling her auntie because she felt maybe some type of way about it.
I'm hoping that's what it was. Because to say Africa and then not allow black people
in America to call you auntie.
It was like, what the hell?
Because we're saying it for the same reasons that you gave for the people in Africa.
And the funny thing is, the more I learn from Trevor Noah is one of them, but from different African celebrities or even your African friends, the more I learn about their culture, it is so much like our culture. Somehow, some way throughout slavery, even though our culture was stripped from us, somehow it must have been ingrained so much that it was passed on somehow, because a lot of it, like Trevor Noah was talking about getting whipped with a switch. Now, that's something we grew up with.
Right.
It's like, well, wait a minute. Y'all was doing that over in Africa too? It's like, okay, interesting. So a lot of their cultural things, we do have a lot of that in us, just naturally. It's like it had to be something that just stuck through the blood, because we never lost it. And during slavery, it couldn't have been taught. It's impossible that it could have been taught during slavery. So somehow we went right back to a lot of those things. So when she made that comment, I felt some kind of way, just because I'm like, well, wait a minute. So Africans can say it, but African Americans can't? That's just rude.
Yeah. Oprah said, I cringe being called auntie or mama by anybody other than my nieces or godchildren, except if I'm in Africa, where it's the custom for everybody to refer to anyone older as sister or auntie, depending on the age difference. And there, no one refers to anyone older by their first name out of respect. I hate being called auntie. That's what you say to old people or the old lady who lives in the neighborhood. Oh, this is Gail talking.
Okay,
but
see, that for me,
and Gail felt similar.
For me, when I was growing up, if it was not an auntie or an uncle, it was a Mr. or a Ms. or a sir and a ma'am. We didn't,
out of respect.
Yes, out of respect. I have 4 aunts that they not related to me in no kind of way.
They could have been they were part of the village though.
Right.
Growing up,
they were friends with my mom.
Yes, and so they became auntie this or uncle this. Yes,
and then like they say, a lot of black kids had uncles because their mamas was dating. My mama didn't do all of that. At least not, well, no, she didn't bring them home. If she did, let's just put it that way. I can't say what she did, but they weren't home. I think my entire life before I was grown, I only met one man my mama dated, and then I was grown. And after I got grown, she only dated one other man, and so whatever. But it was a respect thing. I didn't have a bunch of uncles because she didn't bring home a bunch of uncles. But I had a whole lot of aunties, and they weren't from my daddy; they were from my mama.
Yeah, I guess we don't see, I guess, all the correspondence that she gets, and maybe people are like calling her auntie, trying to be. But I don't see it. I don't see black people doing that. I don't feel that black people do that.
But
because
you're right. We don't.
If
see
anything, black people don't want to claim some of their real family. But when you calling somebody auntie, it's mean like your family now. I respect you. I respect your wisdom. I respect your character. It is a term of endearment. Right. I feel. I hate that, I kind of hate to hear that she feels this way, but,
for Ava DuVernay,
I can understand
she's not much older than me. So I understand it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, my nephews and my nieces, they call me auntie, which, when my nephew was born, my mama was like, you want to be auntie? I don't care. I really personally don't care, but whatever. So they call me auntie because my mother thought they should do it out of respect. Mm-hmm. Okay, so did my sisters.
And you are their
and I am their auntie.
Yeah.
As far as anybody else, my if my best friend had kids, which she doesn't, they would definitely call me auntie. So
because you two are like sisters,
right? So my god kids call me by my name. They always have. It's not a big deal to me. But if some kid were to start calling me auntie, it wouldn't bother me. I can kind of understand where she's coming from, though. Ava DuVernay, but as far as Oprah and Gayle. But the only thing I say here is if they don't want to be called that, then you got to respect that.
Yeah, I understand that. And maybe it's because of their celebrity when you got so many more people calling you these things
that don't have any kind of connection to a point,
that you don't have a connection with them. They feel a connection with you.
I can even see Oprah when she's over in Africa and she's at her school and she knows these kids and they know her and they're calling her auntie. Then it's different than some person that off the street, Auntie Oprah. I get that.
Which is why I hope the underlying message was she don't like when the white people call her.
That's what I'm hoping it is.
Because maybe she takes it as some type of, racist connotation or something.
And that's a possibility. See, I hadn't even thought about it that way. That's a possibility.
That's the only thing that makes sense
I hope
to me. Anyway, that's all I got. What you say?
Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, yes, Elizabeth Warren. Let me click on that story. Elizabeth Warren and it's another representative, Clyburn, are possibly going to introduce a bill to cut student loan debt, to be specific, for more than 95% of borrowers.
Yep.
And I heard that it's like up to 50%, not 50%, 50,000. That would wipe my debt out completely.
It wipe mine out too.
I've been paying for years and it's not going anywhere. I feel like it's actually going up as far as the amount I owe, which doesn't make any sense to me because the amount I pay increases, but the interest rates continue to rise.
Really?
Yes, they weren't. They weren't. Yeah, I think they were supposed to be fixed, and then here recently,
they've been
things. Yeah, things have changed. But they are planning to introduce a bill to reduce student debt, cut it out, eliminate some of it. And can you imagine, like that'll be an extra almost $400 a month for me.
Man.
And that'll cut your
it'll be gone, all of it.
I thought you owed like a little bit more than 50,000.
No.
Okay. Well, right on.
Like 40 total.
Okay. Yes. And so we could actually vacation.
Now, remember I said,
how's she gonna do it?
Well, no. Remember, I said with Elizabeth Warren, I had kind of fallen off of her after the Pocahontas thing, and
that still don't bother me. But
I mean, it did. But let me tell you, if I had to go in and pull up a poll right now, she'd have my vote. And this is
because this is something that she's been talking about for forever and trying to get done.
This is part of it, but it's not just this. Elizabeth Warren has a plan for everything and will share her plan. It does whatever she says she's going to do. You ask her how she's going to do it. She has an answer. She has and her answer always includes how it is going to affect Black people. Always. It always has an aspect of it that deals with Black people.
Didn't you say you saw her on The View and she was going over some of this stuff?
She got a plan for it. I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. What's your plan? So even with her student debt plan, part of it is to raise taxes on people who make, I think it's 50 million or more a year. As soon as you start making 50 million or more a year, 2 cents on everything you make, 2 cents. And she's like, it would wipe out student debt, completely wipe out student debt. She's got a plan for healthcare and how it's going to get paid. She's got a plan for reparations. She got a plan for everything. I'm like, dang. Okay, now you got my attention.
Right on.
I mean, so she has a black agenda, but her black agenda is mixed in with everything else. And every single plan she has, she knows exactly how it will affect black Americans. That's what's got me. She got me right now. The other thing is Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Now look,
I feel like he's been under fire here lately.
He's been under fire since before he said he was going to run. Here's the thing: everybody is expecting Joe Biden to be
the Democratic nominee.
No, like Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Right now, they on my crap list because Joe Biden made a comment about how he could work with anybody, including segregationists. Now, no matter how you want to say you heard what he said, the point he was trying to make is he could work with anybody, no matter what type of person they were. That was his point. It was that simple. Now, some people heard one thing, other people heard whatever you heard, that's fine. But my problem is this. If that's what you heard, then you didn't want to vote for Biden in the first place, because Joe Biden has stuck his foot in his mouth for the last 40 years. It's not like this is new. Joe Biden is the one that was always caught on a hot mic with Obama. He was always dropping F-bombs, always saying stuff he didn't need.
He was also the one that was willing to go out back and fight Trump.
I mean, he was always the one that was caught. I mean, think about how many times in those 8 years we were laughing at something Joe Biden said. And then, not only that, Joe Biden's also the one that told the man in the wheelchair to stand up and take a bow. And then when he looked, he was like, okay, wait a minute, he's in a wheelchair. Maybe we should all stand up and take a bow for you. Like, Joe Biden it's not that he means any harm. He sticks his foot in his mouth. This is one of the reasons.
People feel the same way about Trump.
No, Trump he means harm behind his crap. There's a difference between grab him by the pussy and stand up and take a bow are two different things. Grab him by the pussy and
you're gonna keep on saying that, huh?
Yes, I am. That and I can work with segregationists are two different things.
Is it different than there's verified people on both sides as far as the white nationalists?
Yeah, and if I hear one more white person say it's very fine people on both sides, one more white person. And not even fine people on both sides. Meghan McCain, when she says that, well, it's both sides. No. And then just stop saying it. Everybody needs to stop saying it. Take responsibility for what your side is doing. That's what I need everybody to do right now, is take responsibility for their own actions and the actions of their side. Okay? And before you start talking about somebody else's side, take responsibility for your own. But my point about Biden is he has always stuck his foot in his mouth. He has always said things that weren't necessarily politically correct, or there's just a better way to say it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all say things and we think, oh, I could have probably said that a different way. Mm-hmm. You know, you've called me out on a few of them where you like, we're both
guilty of
Everybody's guilty of that, and Biden is just the king of being guilty of that. You know, so this is one of the reasons why I always said when he ran with Obama and they won, I said to myself, well, Biden won't be the next president after Obama, because people not gonna vote for him. He always saying stuff that he don't have no business saying, and then this fool came out and proved that to be wrong. So now Biden's running again, but I think Democrats still hold their candidates to a higher standard, and so
yeah, and I understand that, but
hey,
I'm changing the way I look at this whole situation. I'm like, by any means necessary at this point.
And that's what makes me say he's going to win, because I think he is the one that most Democrats feel like other people outside of the Democratic Party will vote for.
Okay.
That he's old, white, privileged. he fits.
I feel like I've
that
been hearing a lot of news about his family. They're trying to
They
drama
trying to
about
tear
the
him
son
down.
and all
Yeah,
that
they're
stuff.
trying to tear him apart. They're trying to accuse his son of getting kickbacks from him being VP. You know, they're trying their best. Republicans are already trying to take him out of the game. But right now,
You think he's still the front runner?
I think Democrats, yeah, that's why he is. He's still the front runner. But I think it's because Democrats feel safe with him. They are voting for the person who can beat Trump, not for the right person for the job. Because if we pull Elizabeth Warren in, now we got to deal with stupid Republicans who feel like a woman can't be president. You know, if we put a black person
that's not
in,
just Republicans. There are some Democratic women who believe that as well.
Yeah, they are, but they still vote for her if she was the front runner. I think
so?
I think this time around will be different. But now there was a point that was made that was losing of the black vote. Biden making this comment could make him lose the black vote. And of course, Meghan McCain says, no, if that happens, that's stupid. Well, that's what happened with Hillary. She made a comment 12, 16 years prior about, as a matter of fact, it was 16 years prior, about super predators that came back and bit her in the butt. And that's when she lost the black vote. That's when black people said, I can't vote for her. It wasn't until then, because she had him up until that came out. So yes, he could lose the black vote. But I hope at this point, black people will say, you know what, no matter what, I got to vote blue.
We got to get this man. I'm so tired of this headache.
He got to go.
But he's trying to start a war in order to slow things down.
I don't know. He got to go. That's all I can say. So, anywho, anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, on that note, we will see y'all later. Y'all have lovely, lovely, lovely days and lovely, lovely, lovely lives until we come back.
Okay. Peace.
Night.